Hi all, this is the game that I played yesterday in the league competition. I was playing white and it was a very exciting game. It's quite a long game, so I will probably make two videos because I don't think that I can cover it in 10 minutes. Let's have a look at the game. d4, and we have this King's Indian defense, and I chose to play the 4 pawns variation, f4. Castles, knight to f3, c5, d5, and here many times I've seen the move e6 here, and e6 is actually a kind of transposition to a Benoni. We can get this Benoni type of structures if this happens. But my opponent didn't play e6. After d5 he played b5, and that's the idea of the Volga gambit. So we get a kind of mix of different openings. He played a6 and I played b6, giving back this gambit pawn. And afterward I was looking at the theoretical moves here, and I found out that actually playing a4 is the most common move here. But I didn't think about it during the game because normally I play b6 against the Volga gambit, so I play it more or less automatically. b6, queen takes b6, and now knight to d2. The knight is going to c4, where it attacks the queen, and later the idea of white is to play a4 and a5 to have control over the square b6. Now my opponent played a5 himself. Knight went to c4, queen c7, and then I played a4 to have control over this b5 square, where later I can bring my knight. I cannot do it yet because my e4 pawn is undefended. Bishop to a6, bishop d3. Now he took on c4 and I took back. Knight goes to a6, heading towards b4. I castled. Knight b4. Now here I was thinking, how can I prepare my activity in the center and the king side, because all his pieces are looking at the queen side. He has this half open b file, the diagonal for the bishop, and this knight on b4, and my play should be concentrated on the center by preparing e5 or f5. This bishop on c4 at first sight doesn't look very good because it's blocked by its own pawn, but if in the future I can play e5, maybe there are also possibilities of later playing d5, d6, and then using this diagonal towards the king, the black king. I decided to play queen to e2 now, with the idea of preparing e5. He played knight to d7, and I went on with preparations by moving a rook to a3. Now the idea of this rook a3 move is that this rook can later be brought to the king side, to h3 or f3. Knight b6. His this knight on b6 is not only threatening my bishop on c4, but actually also attacking my pawn on a4. So that means that my rook is not free to move yet. I cannot bring it to the king side because my a4 pawn would fall. I played my knight to b5 to make way for my rook, but I still have this problem that my a4 pawn is not sufficiently defended. Queen to d7, and now I played f5 because I didn't see any other ways of preparing a breakthrough, so I decided to do it right now, f5. And now something happened that actually I was very happy about this. He took on c4, And this is actually good for me because now my rook on a3 is free to move because the a4 pawn is not longer attacked. He went with his knight to a6, and now I played rook to h3, bringing all my pieces to the king side. That's where I want to attack. Here he played rook f to b8, bringing all his pieces to the queen side. I took on g6, and he fought for a long time. He played f takes g6, and that is the correct way of taking the pawn. If he would have taken with the h pawn, then e5 is very strong. A very strong sacrifice, because if he takes this pawn, then queen to h4 is almost winning at once. This h file becomes just too dangerous. So what he did was he took the f pawn, keeping the h file closed. And now still I played e5. I sacrificed this pawn on e5 to be able to bring my queen to the king side. Bishop takes e5, queen h4, threatening the h7 pawn. Now possible defenses are e6 to defend the 7th rank with the queen, and h5 is also a possible defense. He didn't play e6, and that's good, because it would have been wrong to play e6, because then I simply take here, and the queen has to stay on this 7th rank to defend h7, and then I can play queen to f7, and then I'm winning. So he didn't play e6. What he did was he played h5, and I continued with queen to g5, threatening the g6 pawn now. And it's very difficult to defend this pawn. If you would play, for example, queen to e8, then I can take on h5, because this pawn is pinned. So this gives me a very strong attack. But he he found a very strong defensive move. It's actually the only correct defense, and that is queen to g4, threatening to exchange queens, and the queen on g4 is indirectly defending g6. I took on e7, and I expected here rook f8. That would have been a good move, and my plan was to play then rook h to f3, and I still have a better position. But in the game he played rook to d8, giving extra support to the d6 pawn, and I played rook h to f3, doubling the rooks on the f file. Knight to b4 was played. Is trying to get his pieces back into play, and here I played the move h3. My idea was that it's not easy to find a good place for the queen to go. If it goes to d7, then I play rook f8 check, and after rook takes h8 I take his queen. So the only correct place to go, correct square, is e4 for the queen. Queen e4 was played here, and now he's threatening my pawn on d5, and I thought for a long time here what to do. I considered rook to e3, but I didn't do it. But actually it is, according to Fritz, the correct move, but I found it too risky, because my d5 pawn would fall. But then there is a possibility of playing knight to c7, and I underestimated these chances. After queen d4, I can take on a8, rook takes a8, and then give a check on f7. And if the king goes to h8, then take on g6. But I found it very difficult to calculate this after queen e4, so I decided to give a check on f7 first, defending the d5 pawn. He went to h8, and now I played knight to c7. The rook went to a7, pinning the knight. Now I played bishop to g5, bringing one more piece into the attack, attacking the rook on d8. He gave a check on d4, and I played queen to h1. Okay, I'll stop the video now because I've reached the 10 minutes, and I'll continue with the second video.